Dage sir, shall we start?
Yes, madam.
Dage sir, shall we start?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam, you can.
Okay, sir. Okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So we are here in this orientation session on National Innovation and Startup Policy, AGPIT. I welcome the dignitaries, the dignitaries, Vice Principal Sir, Dr. Poddar Sir, NISP members. I also welcome Professor Pradeep Dhage Sir from MIT and other staff members also who are lined up with us in this session. I just want to have a brief introduction of our speaker today, who will be guiding us in this policy making initialization session. We have with us Professor Pradeep Dhage sir. He is a COO MIT TBI in Pune. He is at the head of this incubation center from MIT. To go on with his details, he is having a 12 years experience as the MIT TBI head with 5 years. He is having even the publications, 12 publications he has done. He is having a one patent and many FTPs and STTPs he has organized. He is currently pursuing the PhD. He is ME from ENTC department from completed in 2012. His many achievements we can find out to notify are, he is awarded with Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Innovation Award 2019 by the MIT WPU Pune National Evaluator for Smart India Hackathon 2018-19. He is also awarded for the above and beyond contribution in service by MIT SOT version 2018. The winner of the Smart India Hackathon 2017, organized by Ministry of HRD, AICT as well. Texas Instrumentation Innovation Competition also he has won in 2015, and he is among top 10 in that competition. He also happened to be the nodal officer, Surya Mitra, supported by NIC and MNRE, the Ministry of ARIN, Government of India. His many skills are like product development, incubation, project management, IoT, training coordination, web services, and has a very good hand in microcontroller. Now, to go on with accomplishments, sir, it's having some 30 in line. I will just highlight two. He is having an international patent, AUS, granted for IoT-based disaster management system. Another to mention is initiator of incubator at MIT Pune, made incubator policy. Also, he has successfully made MIT TBI product development policy on his own. He has also successfully made AIC MIT incubator proposal, Niti Ayog. He was a part of that. Also worked in MIT plus BlackBerry project CSR initiative in 2014-15, and also won the Asia's biggest hackathon by Central Government of India. The title of the project then was River Water Audit Management. 3 industry types he has made, like Capgemini, Korean, Spain, and Persistent. Like he has made types with MNRE, NISC, Government of India for solar program, successfully coordinated DST funding programs of SCR for TBI, successfully fetched DST funding of 10.5 lakhs under DST NIMMAT project in the year 2018 and 19. Also, 15 and 26 lakhs for entrepreneurship and solar program he has secured. Also, he has created MIT TBI Idea Scouting Portal, mittbiidea.org, and I handled the MIT Intra Hackathon 2017 Made Hackathon portal as well. He has coordinated and completed Surya Mitra program successfully, taken various IPR awareness camp for product development as well. He has run various skill development program for encouraging entrepreneurships in the students. So in all, he has having to mention the funded projects that he has secured is 95 lakh in all. In 2015-17, 40 lakhs. In 18-19, 55 lakhs. So this was the score that he has obtained for the incubation center there. And almost 5 crore TBI fund coordination he has done. August 18, he had secured 2.5. And in 2020-21, in this year, he has obtained 2.5 crores of the budget. So he has done a very big work in the TBI Pune, and great personality we are having here for guidance. And we will see that we are having all the suggestions that he will be giving for the policy making, because we have recently started. So I welcome you, sir, on behalf of this AGPIT NISP committee and AGPIT as well. So I hand it over to Pradeep, sir, to take over the session.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. I'm getting an echo. Yeah, thank you very much. Host, can you please make me presenter so that I can share my screen to all the attendees? Yeah, I'm already presenter. No problem.
So you can share your screen as well. You can share your screen.
Is it visible to all
Now
of
it is appearing, sir. Now it's appearing.
Okay. Actually, I prepared this presentation for some other cause, but this presentation covers the NISP policy details as well. So I'll be directly jumping to the slide of a NISP policy only. Yeah. So actually, MHRD, very recently, the MHRD has been known as a Ministry of Education as well. They have prepared one policy related to the innovation and startup. Am I audible? Just I want an acknowledgement from any of the attendees so that I can proceed.
Yes, sir. You're audible, sir.
Yeah. MHRD, Ministry of Education, they have prepared one policy. The policy was drafted in 2018 and Ministry have given the approval in 2019. The policy name is National Innovation and Startup Policy for Students and the Faculties, especially those faculties and students who are under HEI. HEI stands for Higher Education Institutions. It includes engineering, polytechnic, and any of the course track after 12 plus. This policy's objective is majorly focusing on the innovation and the startup. The faculties and the students, they used to do lots of projects in their entire engineering track. As far as students are concerned, in 4 years of track, they used to do 2 projects. One is a mini project and one is a major project. On a parallel note, the faculty used to guide them, monitor them, and control as well. So most of the time, the students and faculties used to do lots of innovations and the projects. But the thing is that after completion of the students, after completion of the engineering from the student, the respective project reports used to line up in the library. So nothing, the ministry have observed that nothing is coming out from this thesis or maybe from project report. So they have come up with one good thought. Let's bring out all such project efforts, innovation efforts towards the technology commercialization. And for that purpose, whatever the facilities, the benefits the students and faculties can get, for which they also can claim, the government is ready to give them. Moving ahead, before I actually discuss about NISP, that is National Innovation and Startup Policy, we need to understand there are some other parallel tracks are also being run by the MHRD, that is Smart India Hackathon, Institute Innovation Council, ARIA, that is Atal Ranking for Institution on Innovation and Innovation Achievement. And the next one is the NISP, that is National Innovation and Startup Policy. This policy has been prepared in, as I said, prepared in 2018, which got an approval in 2019. The NISP 2019 was launched by Honorable Ministry of HRD, instantaneous Minister of HRD at that time, by 11th of September 2019. And the intention of this policy is to guide the HEI, that is Higher Education Institute, to promote the student and faculty-driven innovation and startup. It is kind of an instrumental to leverage the potential of the students' problem solving and entrepreneurship mindset and promoting the strong inter-institutional partnership. So this is a tagline I have intentionally kept on this slide. The major intent of Minister of Education behind this NISP is to promote the students and faculty towards the entrepreneurship and innovation assignments and the projects, I would say, so that they can get motivated. And for that purpose, whatever the 360-degree ecosystem approach the government need to do, the government is ready to give that. Obviously, it is expected that when the government is taking such efforts, on a parallel note, the HEIs, respective host institute, respective college or institutes, academic houses, should also give a cohesive support to the student and faculties. If you see that at a nutshell, the major thrust areas of NISPs lies in a 6 verticals: A, B, C, D, E, and F. The A vertical is in this policy, out of this 6 vertical, A to F, the A vertical is talking about the strategies and planning related to the innovation and entrepreneurship. How the education institute can focus on the strategies related to the innovation and entrepreneurship. That all parts have been covered under A category. In B category, that is B vertical, the various rules, regulation for the students and faculties. Various rules and regulation for students and faculties have been mentioned, have been written in B category, that is B vertical, wherein what benefits the students will be getting, what benefits the faculties may get if they contribute in innovation and related assignments or projects in association with students. Similarly, what facilities and the benefits the HEIs are also or may get from the government, that all norms, rules and regulations have been mentioned in B category. That is B vertical, I would say. In C, if you see, the incubation and pre-incubation support related information and highlighting points have been mentioned in C. If you really want to start the pre-incubation facility or incubation facility in your respective HEI, then how you can start. So all those SOPs have been mentioned in C. As far as D category is concerned, the students and faculties related IP ownership rights and their stakes have been mentioned. If the students is doing the project, if the faculty is also contributing to that project, then who will own the IP ownership? What are the different ratios for the IP ownership? That is a patent and all those stuffs I'm talking about, patent, copyright, GIs, like that. So all the ownership related stakes rules have been mentioned in D. As far as E is concerned, E category is focusing more on the various learning methodologies, the various learning interventions for the innovation and startup, how engineering institutions, HEIs can support the innovation track by giving the learning and awareness sessions. So all those rules and regulations have been mentioned in E category. And the last one, that is F, that is belongs to the actual assessment. If the faculty is guiding to student, if the student is working on the innovation based project, and for that purpose if he's seeking some benefits, if he's getting some facilities from the higher education institute or his own institute, his or her own institute, then what type of assessment the respective HEI should do towards the faculty and student, that all norms have been mentioned in F. If you see the axis wise, I'll read the major highlights and the benefits of this policy, that is NISP policy. I'll go clockwise. Government suggested all HEI that the HEI must reserve at least 1% of the institutional total budget for the innovation activity. Suppose 10 crore rupees is the total budget. This is just a figure. I'm not highlighting the specific one, just a figure for an example. If 10 crore is the annual budget, out of that 1% you need to reserve for the innovation activity only. Similarly, if the students are working on a dedicated innovation activity, in that case, one academic break, maybe from semester or a year, can be offered to the respective student, and the credit for working on the innovative assignment against the respective prototype or business model can be considered by the government. That means if the student, if he or she would like to work on one innovative product, and the respective innovative project or product is being accepted, supported by the respective college or HEI, in that case, this for the sake of his time management, I would say, the student can avail the entire semester break or a year break, which is permitted by Government of India, that is Ministry of Education. So if engineering institute, if he says that for mini project, whatever he would like to do, if he says this mini project is really innovative one, and if their respective college accept that this project is really innovative and we should give time to this team, then the respective student or the student team can get entire semester academic break, and the same break will be accepted and supported by the respective university and the government. So this is very clear over here. Only the thing is that they need to give the exam, so no need to come to the college regularly. Only they have to work upon their own innovation part, and they have to give the regular reporting to the respective NISP coordinator. Next one is the service to be offered by institution in lieu of equity, fee-based or zero payment model. This is very important. If any student team or a faculty team, or maybe a team of student and faculty, if they are working on one innovation project, innovation product, I would say, in that case, when they actually kickstart their own venture startup, in that case, the respective HEI, college institution, or I would say academic institution, can ask for the equity, either equity, or they also instead of equity, if they want, in that case they can go for the zero payment model or fee based model as well. So what are these zero payment and fee based model? We'll have a discussion in a question answer session as well. Next one is when the student and faculty start their startup or the innovation project, in that case the respective institution incubator can take minimum 2% to maximum 9.5% of the equity stake in the respective startup or company. The complete ownership of IPR, as far as IPR is concerned, patent, copyright, GIS is concerned. So all this IPR related ownership lies at the inventor only. The idea initiator will be the owner of the respective IPR, and the rest of the bodies, or rest of the, I would say, individuals will be acting as an innovator to the IPR application. We'll start with the A, B, C, D one by one, which we did discuss very recently. In A category, the strategies and the governance for promoting an entrepreneurship. All those norms related to the strategies and governance have been mentioned. Government says that at least 1%, I'll just use one highlighter. At least one senior person with charge of the incubation center, with the independent charge, I would say, should look towards this incubation activity as well as this national innovation and startup policy. I'm very happy that your college have appointed Professor Sakre Madam, who is looking after this entire NISP activity. So as per the norm, as far as first category of this policy is concerned, your college satisfy this norm that one senior person with charge of incubation and NISP should take care. Next one is in that, as I said, 1% of the fund of the total annual budget should be reserved for the innovation activity. Intra and inter-institutional relation to promote the entrepreneurship and innovation agenda, and institute can provide the service and facilities to outsider entrepreneurs too. It is expected that it is but obvious that you should support your student and faculties, but on other case, if the student or faculty from other nearby colleges coming towards you, it becomes an ethical duty to you also that you should support them or their request as well, or their applications as well. Rising funds from the diverse sources, this is also one of the major objective. You must focus on rising the funds from the diverse sources. You can directly tap the companies who comes under the CSR. Under CSR category, you can raise the funds. It is very easy way to raise the funds for the institution in the area of incubation and innovation. There are lots of industries who are ready to give the funds under CSR category to the higher education institute if you are working in the area of incubation and innovation. The sponsorship donation from the alumni network or maybe from the corporates you can take. So these are the few points have been covered as a part of strategy and governance for promoting the entrepreneurship. By following all these practices, you can actually promote the entrepreneurship and the innovation activity. Apart from that, the respective HEI college should join the IIC. I'm sure your college, your institution must have started this IIC. I have heard that in recent past that your college have already started this IIC council. Along with that Smart India Hackathon activity, the college must encourage all the students and faculties to participate in Smart India Hackathon and ARIA, that is Atal Ranking of Institution Innovation Achievement. In part B, that is the B category of the NISP policy, there are some norms, rules, regulations have been written for the students and faculties. In that, there are major three categories: B1, B2, B3. In B1 policy, discuss only about the students' innovation and their incentives. If the student is actually working on the innovation part, and if it is been duly approved by the respective organization head, maybe NISP head and the respective principal or director, if the student got the respective approvals from this approving authority, starts with the NISP head to the director, in that case he can get some incentives. Now here the incentives, as I said, he may avail the facilities of the 1 semester academic break with all the laboratory and the mentorship facility from the HEI, and as well as the nearby incubators mentor facility. So nearby incubator can give the mentorship and the lab resources to the respective student if it has been duly approved by your HEI. As far as B category, B2 is concerned, the same facilities and the incentives have been proposed in B2 for the faculties and the staff. Now here when I say the faculties and staff, here along with the teaching staff, non-teaching staff also can avail the facilities. If any non-teaching or teaching staff come up with one good innovative project, and if it has been duly approved by the HEI, in that case they also can get the facilities like laboratory access from the nearby incubator, mentorship access. And it has been proposed that the respective HEI should lighten the weekly load of the respective faculty or the staff. For example, I am an assistant professor. I am taking the load of, let us take 16 hours or 18 hours. In that case, it has been proposed that if the respective innovation project has been approved, in that case, the respective HEI or the head of the department of that faculty can lighten the weekly load of the staff or the faculties so that they can concentrate more towards the innovation activity, innovation and entrepreneurship activity. Apart from that, if they really progress well, you may suggest few increments as well. As far as B3 is concerned, there are few norms for the faculty startups. If the faculty, after B2, if the faculty is running his or her own startup, he can start his own startup, he can start his own company without compromising the regular job. You are most welcome to open your own company, to open your own startup by doing the regular job in your institution. That is also appreciated. There are few norms, but here there are few norms which we need to consider, that whatever the startup you will be doing, it should not be a part of your PhD program. It should not be a part of your ME project. It should not be a part of your BE project. So this is very clear. Another one, if the faculty is running the startup, in that case, he cannot take the salary from his own company. That means the respective faculty is already taking the salary from the education institute. In that case, one person cannot withdraw the salary from the two organizations. One is your own HEI and one is your own startup. So at the same time, two salaries the respective faculties cannot get. So these are the major highlighting points. Next one is that if the faculty runs the startup successfully, in that case, it has been proposed that whatever the promotion reservations have been mentioned in 6-pay commission or maybe from your HEI's HR policy, the faculty who have started his own startup is the first person to avail all those facilities. So it is very good opportunity for the faculties and staff to encourage and start his or her own startup, so that you can get all the facilities related to the promotion and increment from your college, as well as if you are duly approved by the university, then from the university as well. Yes, I was talking about the norms. So norms for the faculty says that you can see here. The role of faculty while teaching may be as an owner, founder, co-founder, director, promoter, advisor, mentor, consultant, but cannot take the role of employee as CEO or other managerial role in his or her own startup. That means he cannot withdraw the salary from the startup and can't accept the gifts from his own startup. Now, when I say gifts means honorarium. Only TADA is acceptable over here from the startup budget, startup funds, but the honorarium or any gift or salary he cannot withdraw. He or she can take share on the profit and dividend only if from the startup as an owner or shareholder. Obviously, the respective faculty or the staff can take the share in the company, that too against the profit or dividend, only and only when the respective faculty is the owner of that startup. The faculty must clearly separate and distinguish the ongoing research at institute from work conducted at startup company. This is very much important for all the faculties and the staff. You need to take the prior permission from your HOD, vice principal, director, whichever the hierarchy is available in your institute, that you must focus and separate out the existing work, that is your regular duties, and the startup duties separately. In case of the selection for the acceleration or incubation, he may take a sabbatical leave. It is very important. If the startup is being incubated at incubation center, in that case, the respective staff can take a sabbatical leave or any other leave up to 1 semester or 1 year or more based on the committee recommendation. Now, when we say committee here, The committee comprises of NISP head and your respective research R&D related coordinators or officers, I would say, and most important, that is your principal or director, whichever is available. Next one is the faculty must not involve the research staff or other staff engaged in academic project of institute in activity at startup. This is very clear that the respective faculty or staff, I would say, he or she should not involve any research staff. Now, when I say research staff, it means any research associate, any ME student or PhD student, or any PhD or ME related projects. You should not involve all such activities into your startup. This should be separate because these all are the academic activity and your startup is based on the innovation and business only. So these norms are very much clear. In part 3, as I said, there are few norms related to the incubation and pre-incubation. If you want to start your own incubation center, or if you have not started the incubation center, it is advised to start your pre-incubation center first. Just encourage your staff and student to do more activities in the area of innovation and entrepreneurship. The major objective of pre-incubation center is towards the training, awareness, and the outreach program of the innovation and entrepreneurship only. And once you feel that your students and faculties are very much serious and they have already get the speed of the innovation activity, then you can think for the incubation center. How to start the incubation center? That is a different and very long type of discussion. We may discuss this setting up of incubation center in maybe another lecture or the session. As far as D is concerned, the IP ownership rights, yes, students and faculties should start the innovation activity, and to encourage this activity, the government and the respective HEI is supporting the ownership right of the respective innovation as well. So any student and faculty, if they would like to file the patent, if they would like to go for the copyright or the GIS, in that case, the respective HEI and the government will be supporting from the rights point of view as well. Whoever is the idea initiator, will be the actual owner of the IP, actual owner of the patent, I would say, and his other team members will be acting as a innovator over there. As far as E is concerned, the various learning intervention. Now, this learning intervention is nothing but various outreach program or the various learning related program for the entrepreneurship and innovation activities. They have been suggested. Now, this E part comes under the pre-incubation part as well. So how to start the various entrepreneurship and innovation activities? What are the different sizes of this training activity? That all have been mentioned over here. It is expected that every college or HEI, it is expected that the coordinator of NISP should run at least one entrepreneurship and innovation based training or the learning track or activity in each 3 months. That means in entire 12 months, that is of 1 year, the HEI must complete the 4 training, or I would say the awareness program. As far as F is concerned, by doing all these A to E innovation and entrepreneurship activity, there is one committee, I would say, HEI should establish one impact assessment committee who will look after the performance of the student and the staff who is already availing all the facilities under NISP policy, because they may be on a leave, they may be on a sabbatical leave, they may be on academic break. In that case, the performance of this staff or student, the respective impact assessment committee will do. They will check actually. So, and based on their impact assessment committee's recommendation only, the further facilities will be, I would say, come into the effect or will be facilitated from the HEI and government. Yes, pre-incubation and incubation activity, I just said. To start the incubation center, you must have the Section 8 company. But if you don't have the Section 8 company or don't have the incubation center, you can start the pre-incubation center as well. Pre-incubation center doesn't require any Section 8 company legal structure or legal status. Any one or two member of the faculties can start and monitor the pre-incubation activity. The major objective of this pre-incubation activity is to encourage and make aware the students and staff towards the innovation and entrepreneurship. Now, how they can do? They can do this by running few boot camps, few hackathons, few awareness camp, few training programs or motivational sessions for the students and staff in entire academic year. The facility, most important, in case of the pre-incubation and incubation, them are similar to the lab. There should be one facility for the entrepreneurs and the innovators should be available from HEI. It is expected that you should open this facility for 24/7, but at initial period, if you want, then at least try to open this facility for maximum time. In return of this, all services, for example, IPR service, various incubation services, lab services for this pre-incubation and incubation. In return of these services, for example, space, infrastructure, mentorship, funds, legal and patent support, respective HEI based incubation center can take minimum 2% to 9.5% of the equity from the staff and the student if they actually start their own startup. In that case, minimum 2 to maximum 9.5% of equity the HEI incubator can ask. IP ownership, as I said, the IP ownership is very important. The IP ownership lies at the idea initiator only. The idea initiator will be the owner of the IP. Moreover, if the IP is in team, in that case, the other team members can act as an innovator to the patent application, so that they also can get the benefit in their career track. As far as sharing is concerned, if the HEI is actually involved from the financial front, if the HEI is also involved in that IP application, in that case, HEI can take the share of minimum 1% to 4% in that IP ownership, but it should not be more than 4%. All the 96% ownership will lies at IP owner only, that is student or staff, whoever has initiated this idea. Next one, if it is a software based, then it should be decided by the mutual discussion in between the institute incubation center and the respective startup company or respective student and staff group. Any other dispute related to the IP ownership, related to revenue sharing and licensing, then the 5-member committee, it is proposed that your college should form the 5-member committee, and they will look into the matter and the litigations of IPR only. As far as interdisciplinary research and the publication on startups are concerned, they should be promoted by the HEI only. If any work, if it is interdisciplinary, then instead of the respective department HOD, the same NISP coordinator or NISP head will look into all such matter, and it should be duly promoted by the HEI head as well. That means your principal or maybe your director. So these are the various highlighting points which I wanted to discuss with you. If you'd like to download all these annexures, these are the various links. You can download the NISP copy from this link. You can join the NISP campaign by visiting this link, and the institute can implement the NISP by adopting one senior faculty. The rules and regulation of this senior faculty has been mentioned in this link. So this is the short brief discussion from my side. I'm very happy to take your question and answer your queries if you have.
Thank you, sir. Hello. Hello.
Yes, madam.
Hello. Sir, can you hear me? Okay, sir.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Few questions are there. Like we have one staff on his own personal basis. He has had the IP rights for one project of his. He has obtained the patent, so he has some difficulty, sir. Mr.
Okay.
Upadhyay, sir, Professor Upadhyay, sir, will talk to you, sir.
Okay.
Hello, am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Hello, sir. I'm Professor Upadhyay from A.G. Patil Institute. I had one question regarding incubation center, not regarding the patents. We have applied for incubation scheme of MSME before 1 year. So it has not been yet declared about the results, and anything has not declared by them. So my question was, if we want to take advantages of these types of schemes like MSME schemes, TBI scheme, the accreditation is mandatory for them. Is it true that accreditation is required?
It is not required actually.
Mhm.
You are writing to MSME, Ministry of MSME, Ministry of Science and Technology, or Niti Aayog just to get the financial support.
Yes.
Okay, because for incubation, for establishment of incubation center, we need some funds.
Mhm.
Okay, if the HEI Institute is very much serious to start the incubation center, then in that case the management of the HEI also needs some fund support from the government, and for that purpose government is ready to give the fund. But it is not like that. If you are not getting any affiliation or the approval from the government, that means you cannot start your incubation center. It's not like that. I'll give the example of MIT only, as well as the Sinhagad College only, as this is the sister, I should not say sister institute, but the nearby institute to the A.G. Patil only, Sinhagad Solapur I'm talking about. They do not have any affiliation or accreditation from government, but still they are running their own incubation center. Similarly, as far as MIT is concerned, now we got the support and the funds from the government, but initially when we started the incubation center, we did not had the funds and any approval from the government. We by our own, we have started this incubation center. We run the incubation center for 2 years with our own pocket. That is from obviously management support. Then when we wrote the proposal to government, the government came here, they did the Reiki over here, they analyzed all the facilities as per their norm, and then we got the support, or I would say accreditation from the government. So the concluding remark is, it is not compulsory that you must have the accreditation from the government. You may start your own incubation center. That means with the support of your management, A.G. Patil management, you start your own incubation center in the same premises, and parallelly you keep on writing the proposals to the government as well as to the corporate industries for the fund support, and on other side focus on innovation and entrepreneurship activities for the students and staff.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
From the audience online who have joined, if they have any questions, can put on the questions. Dr. Poddar, sir. Gadwal, sir. I had a question, sir.
Yes, madam.
Like you talked about a concept, zero payment model. You already predicted that there will be a question on this, but I had a doubt of this. Like, what exactly do we mean by zero payment model?
Yes.
Can you elaborate on this?
When we run the incubation center and when we implement this NISP policy, In that case, it is expected that the student and staff will get some laboratory as well as the asset facility from the respective innovation houses, like incubation or pre-incubation center, or maybe from the department of NISP in your college. Now, in as far as the specific example is concerned, you being an NISP head of your institute, if you are offering some facilities, or your student and staff are getting some facilities from your side, it is expected that you also should generate some revenue. Now, if it is only related to the student and related to the staff, then it is the college property. All the equipments, all the mentorship, all the consultancy you offer from your department to the respective student. But if the student has established his own startup, or faculty has established his own startup, and then they need some facilities from your side, that is from NISP department or maybe incubation center. Now, in that case, instead of giving the rent, or instead of paying some professional fees against the resources of NISP, your NISP department, or maybe from incubation center, you may ask for the stake. So for example, I have a very good 3D printer with me, or a laser cutter with me, and one of my student startup wants to use the 3D printer for entire 2 months. Now, in that case, there are some expenses for the 3D printer, obviously. There are some expenses for the laser cutter as well. In that case, whatever the nominal charges we used to ask in market, if any client comes to the 3D printer shop, and if or to the vendor of laser cutter, then the vendor of this laser cutter or 3D printer used to ask some professional fees. So on the same line, instead of taking the fees from the startup, you can ask for the equity or stake. Now, this is not only specifically belongs to the 3D printer or laser cutter. I'm talking about the entire, all the facilities under which comes under the incubation and NISP. So if you are offering some facilities to the startup, maybe maybe mentorship, maybe laboratory access, maybe some funds, if you are giving some funds to them, then instead of getting the monetary from them, okay, you offer, you ask them to give away the equity or the stake. So that is called zero payment. So they need not have to give the payment to you. Instead of payment, they will give the share or equity. This is called zero payment. This is one part of zero payment. There are other aspects are also there, but as we are into academic institution, we'll focus on that part.
Yes, sir. One more question. Impact assessment committee you're mentioning about.
Yes.
So can I everybody wants to know like what exactly is the model of this impact assessment committee?
Yeah, I'll take few names from the attendees only, just for the example purpose. I'm here. I can read Professor Sachin Mohite. Suppose Professor Sachin Mohite had start his own startup. Okay, and for that purpose, he took the sabbatical leave of 1 semester. Now, in that case, he is not into college, or maybe if he's coming to college, he's not doing any teaching. Now, in that case, how do you rate the performance of Professor Sachin Mohite? For that purpose, instead of any department HOD, or instead of any principal or director or vice principal, government proposed that you should form a 5-member expert committee, especially in the area of innovation, including the coordinator of NISP or incubation center. They will analyze, they will assess the overall performance of the Professor Sachin Mohite, how he is performing as far as his own project is concerned, and based on the recommendation of that committee, the further beneficiaries and the incentives will be offered to the respective professor. The same part applies to the student as well. Is as far as mini project or major project is concerned, your respective mini project guide or major project guide used to monitor their performance. In the same way, this 5-member committee will observe, and they will do the entire performance assessment of the respective innovation project.
I'm awaiting for the questions from the audience who are online. Participants, I assume no questions are there, sir. So I hand over the session to Maslekar Madam for the vote of thanks, and then we'll conclude this session, sir.
Thank you, madam. Good afternoon, all. I am Professor Maslekar. It gives me immense pleasure to present vote of thanks for this very informative session on National Innovation and Startup Policy 2019. I express my sincere thanks to Mr. Pradeep Dhage for accepting our invitation and guiding us on NISP. Sir, your guidance on 6 verticals of NISP, then incentives for faculties and students, then HEI must complete 4 training programs in a year, or regarding impact assessment committee, or regarding zero payment model. So that is very informative and useful for us, and definitely will take all those points and will work hard to give few startups or innovation by our institute. I also mention my thanks to Honorable Secretary of AGPIT, Sri S.A. Patil sir, Principal, Dr. S.A. Patil sir, Vice Principal, Dr. V.V. Poddar sir, for their guidance and support. Finally, I mention my thanks to all the online and offline participants, and then for all those who took effort to make this event successful. Thanks once again, sir. Now I hand over mic to Sakre, madam.
Hello. Can you hear me, na? Sir, we thank you for your precious suggestions. We have made one tentative report of NISP of AGPIT as a policy, but if we have any difficulties or any wherever some loopholes are there, we will just consult you once again, and I look forward for this further support, sir. Thank you so much for your session, for the wonderful session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
We
Thank
end
you.
up the session with this.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you all for participating in this event.
Thank you.
Thank you once again.